You are listening to What's Next? Conversations with Boomers, and I'm Barb Desmarais, your host. Social media. This is what we're talking about today. There's a lot to say about social media. I was just the other day watching a documentary about the impact of social media on kids in that case being teenagers. And they were particularly highlighting a woman who had lost her 15-year-old child through suicide and how addicted she was to her phone and social media. And one thing led to another, and she ended up taking her life, which got me to thinking, I don't think any of us as boomers are going that far, but there's no question we are on social media. So for this conversation, I brought in my dear friend Denise, because Denise and I seem to have the ability to talk about anything. We may not be experts, but we have our opinions. So welcome back, Denise.
Thank you. Yeah, nice to be here. Yeah.
We just love having you here. So let's just full disclosure here. We had our usual Sunday morning conversation this morning. So that was just literally, hours ago. And I presented this idea and we decided, okay, what about today? Let's record today. Okay, so let's start off by, I'm just going to ask you, I know the answer, but for the listeners, do you use social media and how often do you use it and what platforms?
So yes, I do use social media and I use it a lot. Platforms I use are Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I guess that would be considered social media. And lately I've been diving into TikTok a lot.
And how often do you click on Facebook or any of the platforms?
At least once a day. At least once a day. Yeah.
At least once a day. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm making supper. I have a moment. I find out what's going on Facebook. I make supper. I have a moment. I scroll through TikTok, Yeah. It's a big part of where I get my information now and how I communicate with other people. And yeah.
Would you say, so compared to 5 years ago, would you say you use it more often now or less often?
I use it differently. I'm going to say more often in that it's sort of mind-numbing. I kind of use it to disengage. But I'm not posting as much as I used to. I'm more just scrolling. Yeah.
That's interesting because my friend Deb was over earlier today and I told her that we were going to be doing this and she said the same thing, that she goes on it and I don't know how often, but she goes on every day, definitely every day, but exactly, how many hours she spends on social media, I don't know. But she said that she doesn't post, she hardly ever posts, if at all. And that she knows several people that she connects with who don't post, who used to post but no longer post. So I wonder why that is. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to, out myself here because I'm just going to be truthful. I am not proud of this. I am on social media every day and far too much. In fact, when they your phone tells you the hours of screen time you've had. I mean, I'm just ashamed. And I don't even think I would tell anybody because I find, and especially when I'm alone, which is a lot of the time, it's instant connection and it's instant, as you said, it's access to information. And lately, because of the political landscape in both the U.S. and Canada, I follow a lot of political commentary. But there's things that I should be doing, and I'm not because I'm scrolling.
Right.
I'm in a book club, and I always have a book going, and okay, there's my book right there. I could be reading and making better use of my time. And instead I'm scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. I had to, and TikTok just absolutely sucks me right in.
Right.
And I had to delete the app because I thought this is absolutely ridiculous. Um, and then you're watching things and, oh, that's ridiculous. Why would somebody come on and talk about that? And then I think, well, nobody's forcing me to watch this,
Right.
right? So, and here we are.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, because it's not all bad. We hear, and I hear and read a lot about the impact of phones and especially social media on the youth, and it's really bad. There's serious implications and consequences, and I'm just so glad that we're not having to go through that. So, okay, let's just sort of dive into what are the positives? What is good about it?
So I kind of separate things out. Like when you say I spend far too much time on social media, and then you start talking about, I'm following the American politics and Canadian politics and the things that you watch and the podcasts that you listen to. I don't consider any of that a waste of time, right? I listen to and watch a lot of YouTube videos but I'm learning stuff. That to me is different than scrolling through TikTok
Yeah,
or scrolling through Instagram, right?
yeah.
To be they're two separate things. So for me, social media has just made information so much more available. And I'm I just things can't be a mystery anymore because you just have to click a button to get.
I know. Find out in a millisecond.
Yeah. Yeah, so I like that. I like that part of being online is the learning pieces. And then it really is a very good communication. Well, it's a double-edged sword. It's a good communication tool in that, gee, I don't really feel like having a phone call with this person, but I do want to connect. So, hey, how's it going? But for me, the negative side of that is that I don't have vocal voice conversations with people very often anymore.
Yeah, we forget our phone is actually seldom used as a phone. It's used as everything else but. Yes. Okay. So I agree. The pluses of it is social connection. And I think about people that are isolated for whatever reason, are lonely. They can connect with the outside world so quickly and easily. So I see that as a good thing. We've had episodes where we've talked about, that loneliness is now an epidemic and it has serious health consequences. So as you say, though, when you're scrolling and connecting virtually and through the written word versus the telephone or in person, it doesn't have the same substance. It doesn't have, we don't have inflection, body language, and all of those things.
Mhm.
But it is a lifesaver for many people. And I love it for that. I think about, people that I lost connection with in Prince George, but now I'm connected with them.
Right.
I hear about their travels and you see pictures of where they've been and their kids and their grandchildren and how they're looking like now in 2025 versus in 1969. we're all sort of, and I love that. And because of course before we'd say, I wonder what ever happened to such and such. And as you say, it is a really good source of news and information. As soon as something happens in the news, I'm really interested to hear people's thoughts around it.
Mhm.
And, there's so much going on in the US right now. And we now have a new prime minister, and that's created a huge amount of discourse and various opinions. And I find that really interesting. I use Threads a lot, which is like Twitter, but as soon as Elon took over, I forget it. I'm not going there. So Threads is the same idea.
Yeah.
I get all my recipes from
Oh, yeah.
Pinterest,
I don't go on Pinterest very often anymore.
but social media, this has become an addiction for many of us.
Yeah, I find often I'll sort of come across something and read it, and then there's a response. Not
Hmm.
necessarily always good, right? So the option is to kind of just walk away or dive in. And I usually walk away, but yeah, there's a lot of I think social media is one of the reasons that we are so polarized.
Exactly. Good point. One of the reasons we're so polarized.
There's no room for sort of nuance, right? It's either or. You're on here or you're.
Hmm.
And I think social media had a lot to do with where we're at right now in our world, for sure. Sure.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, I don't know enough about them, but the algorithms and how they sort of, they lead you down these paths that, that's dangerous. That's dangerous.
Absolutely. Yeah, they know what we're reading all the time.
Mhm.
And here, you can have some more and more and more. Mela,
Yep.
what do you, so you're a millennial and millennials use social media a lot. And my understanding is no long the millennials kind of started using Facebook and they don't anymore
Mhm.
or rarely. So what for you are the benefits or the pluses of social media for your generation?
That's a nuanced question because let's face it, millennials kind of created the social media craze, right?
Yes,
Mark Zuckerberg himself is a millennial.
is a millennial.
Um, and like, yes, there are positives, but also with the positives, there are the negatives outweigh the positives. So it's hard for me to say that that social media is positive. Does that make sense?
It does.
So what I'm trying to say is that like we had these idealistic thoughts of what we thought social media was supposed to be and how it was going to be, etc. And then what we didn't anticipate was how that positive had quickly turned into a negative in like a deeper, more profound way.
Mhm.
So I would say like the positives is like, yeah, you can connect with people. But I think after years of using it and also having known it to be one way, because it didn't start with Facebook. It started with MySpace and all
Mhm.
those other,
Mhm.
iterations of before we know. So like the way we know social media today is not at all how millennials experienced it during its inception. So in saying that, it's hard for me to say that like the positives are still there, because yes, we can connect. I can connect with Barb on Instagram. I can connect with Denise on Instagram. But I think there's also, I feel like our brains have been conditioned to like our attention span, like it's so short now that like what does connecting even mean anymore? Do you know what
Right.
I mean?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So
And
let's.
I guess like another positive I would say would be like it has been, I mean, it has been a tool for marketing. So for those who are marketing a product, a brand, or whatever, I guess it's positive for that because you can do it efficiently without having to spend too much money.
Right. And you pretty much have to use social media to market yourself as a business person or any business.
Exactly.
You have to. Can you imagine your life without social media?
Yes.
Can you?
Yes. Only because like I've made it a conscious effort to recalibrate my social media diet.
And we'll be right back.
Yeah, a lot of what Mel said is resonating with me quite strongly. For me, and again, I can only talk from my own experience. I have an attention span of a gnat now. You know, I, I mean, even in
You
these
and the
short,
rest of us.
yeah, even these short TikTok videos. I mean, if they go on for longer than 30 seconds, I'm scrolling, and that worries me because I used to really like doing deep dives into things. So that worries me. And then, just like I said, around how they manage the algorithms, is that really my opinion, or is it just that's the thing that keeps showing up on my page, so it becomes my opinion? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah, I find that really dangerous. And then the other piece is that people need to be with people, right? So it does serve a purpose in that it helps us with our loneliness when we are lonely, but it can also kind of give us an excuse to not get out there, to not push ourselves to get out there and see people. So,
absolutely.
uh, and for a boomer, that's worrisome. It's just way easier to stay at home,
Yeah,
not
which isn't a good thing. I mean, it's not that there's anything wrong with staying at home. Lots of times that's preferable and perfectly healthy. But if that's your main place you are for most your days and weeks, then that's not a good thing. Yeah, for a lot of people, it gives them an excuse to not make the effort to go out.
Mhm.
And, and as we were talking about this morning, there's no comparison to meeting somebody in person versus online. It's just completely different.
I have friends that we used to talk on the phone. Now we text. There's no phone calls anymore. You know what I mean? So those kinds of vocal voice conversations, again, I think those are important. They're important for our brain health and our heart health, all of it. So in terms of being a boomer, those kinds of things worry.
Me too. So
Yeah.
I'll remind people who have met you before, Denise, people who have met you, people who have not met you, that Denise and I have been having Sunday morning conversations that start precisely at 8:30 and end precisely at 9:30. And we've been doing this for over 20 years. I think it's about 22 or 23 years now, every single
Yeah.
Sunday, unless one of us is away and then we
Right.
don't have the calls and we miss the calls. And we were saying this morning that we are recording this on Sunday. We are saying this morning that we simply the kind of conversations we have and the depths that we go into could not be replicated through text.
Through text. No, no. There's nuance, there's nuance and there's depth. I just worry that people miss that, you know?
I agree. So,
Yeah.
I mean, the thing that we all know is this is another addiction, social media. It's huge. And I'm
Yeah.
starting to wonder if I've got it because as I say, I've got things, like dishes need to be put away, laundry needs to be done, the floor is a mess,
Mhm.
and I'm scrolling on my phone.
Right. Yeah.
And nobody's here saying, "Get off your phone. Are you still on the phone?" On your phone, not on the phone. On your you're
On your
still
phone. Yeah.
what are you doing?
Yeah.
So that is worrisome. And as you said, you've got the attention span of a gnat.
Yeah.
I do the same with TikTok. Oh, come on, get on with it. Get on with it. Get on with it. And many times I'm thinking, why would you want to share that with the cyber world?
Right.
Like some of the most personal things. There's people that are extremely vocal about their opinions, and a lot of times you completely disagree with them, and which is fine to disagree with somebody's opinions, but it's the way people express themselves now. There's so much bullying and just uncivil
Mhm.
discourse and name calling, all this, referring to people that are liberal as liptards. And I'm reading this and thinking, what have we come to? Who
Mhm.
are these people? How is this okay? But I'm still reading it. There I am. I'm going to the next one and I'm going to the next one. And I have to have a conversation with myself to say, nobody is making me
Right.
read all this stuff,
Yeah. Yeah.
but here I am reading it.
Yeah.
I like the good stuff as well. I mean, I like reading opinions or things that are informative that I didn't know. But also, it's the disinformation. And sometimes it's really hard for us to discern what is actual fact. People spout off statistics all the time and facts and never cite sources. So is this true? Is it not? I don't know.
Mm.
And of course, there's free reign to say anything you want.
Yes, that's right.
Also, with all this bombardment of information that we get in a millisecond, there can be sort of an information overload effect, which is stress inducing.
Sure.
Would you agree with that?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. So much choice, so much information, and what's real and what isn't. And yeah, it can be really stress inducing, cause a lot of anxiety, you know? Yeah.
I was just going to say that. I mean, they're now saying that, a lot of the sources of anxiety and depression and stress is phone use.
Right. Yes.
When I'm with somebody, I have no interest in my phone, except if we're going to show a picture of
Right.
somebody or something.
Mhm.
Um, but also, as we were saying, all of this name calling and bullying and just this complete lack of civility, I certainly in me, an internal angry response, just how can people talk? This is so, first of all, what you're saying is just not true. I'm pretty darn sure it's not true.
Mhm.
And just the way they're presenting it, it makes me really mad inside. And I think, well, again, I'm choosing to read this stuff.
Right. I think there's a cruelty now that is becoming normal that anger is one thing that happens to me, but it also, like, it's kind of despairing when I read what people are saying and just how mean. Maybe people have always been mean, but now they have a platform that they're able to do that. Another thing that just kind of dropped into my head while we were talking was the other part about social media that I think is, like, I've experienced that it is quite dangerous is that I had a person in my life who was posting really great things on her Facebook page. She was doing this and she was doing that and she was off over here and it was just, wow, she's doing so well, right? So she's doing so well. So I didn't bother to check in or anything. And then I ran into her and we decided to have lunch. And then she sat down and told me that, you know, she wasn't doing well at all. And I said, I'm reading your Facebook page and I'm seeing all this wonderful stuff. She said, well, I can't put negative stuff on my Facebook page. So, yeah, but it never occurred to me to check in with her because, I mean, and I don't want people to put negative, I don't want that to happen, but it's false. You're creating a
It
false
is
image of
false. It
yourself.
gives the illusion
Yeah,
that everybody's got these perfect lives, and in fact, they
yeah,
don't.
yeah.
Which then we compare ourselves to others who appear to have it all when they don't. Obviously, they don't.
Mhm.
I kind of agree with her. I mean, I know, my husband was diagnosed with cancer. I didn't share it online.
No,
I
that's right.
I just we had a lot of support within our own circle. I didn't need to put it out there, and it just was unsavory to me to kind of air your everything on to
Right. And I'm
strangers.
not suggesting that, but what I'm saying is that because she was creating a false narrative about herself, so and I am one of her support people. So because I was seeing all of this goodness happening on Facebook, it never occurred to me to check in, and I should have checked in. But yeah, no, I don't like it when people put their stuff on Facebook. I don't like that either. There has to be a reality.
Right,
Yeah.
right. I mean, we have to. I mean, it's just a given that when people present their lives and it appears to be perfect, it absolutely isn't. I mean, we can say that with 100% certainty.
Mhm.
And I don't know if this happens so much with us, but certainly with the younger generation, there's the FOMO effect, the fear of missing out. That they're doing this and this and this and this, and what am I doing? That's not a good thing if we're comparing ourselves to other people and then, concluding that our lives are not fulfilling or they're not as good as that person's life. And we'll be right back. So I went into Chat GPT, as I'm apt to do these days.
You have a newfound love for chat.
I do. Yes. I did. So there's a lot here, so I'm not gonna read it all, but this is I just basically asked, are boomers using social media or how often or so as of 2024, approximately 53.8% of baby boomers in the United States, individuals born between 1946 and 1964, regularly use social media platforms. The primary platforms predominantly are Facebook and YouTube. Facebook serves as their most popular platform, utilized for activities like messaging friends and family, which is 72%, sharing photos, 64%, and accessing entertaining content. Okay, so we like our cat videos and that kind of thing, which is 54%. So emerging platforms, there's a growing interest among boomers in platforms such as Instagram, TikTok, and Reddit. Do you use Reddit, Denise?
Never
No.
used it.
Well, that's another one that you can get completely lost in. I downloaded it and started reading it. I thought, no, I can't have this. This is just too much. And then they say engagement platforms. While boomers are less inclined to adopt a new social network rapidly, they are increasingly engaging with digital content. In 2024, 54.4% of baby boomers shifted to digital content consumption, with many spending time on connected TV and various online apps. So definitely we're using it. I thought it was actually, I would thought it'd be more than 54%. I mean, that is still the majority of us, but it's not a huge
No.
majority.
Mm-hmm.
I would say virtually everybody I know uses it.
Mm-hmm.
There are some people that, every once in a while, oh, I'm not on anything. Oh, good for you. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And God, how do you have that level of self-control? Tell me. Right.
Yeah.
So, I think it does make an interesting conversation, though. I mean, what is the worst part of it for the millennials, Nella?
Yeah, I think because like we've experienced the evolution of it in real time, so we're a bit more jaded towards it. I think probably the comparing yourself and like the heightened anxiety that it does like impose on all of us because you can't help but compare, you know.
Right. I mean, even though your rational mind knows that nobody has a perfect life and there's all sorts of things going on with
Mhm.
those people that you don't know,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
right?
I've definitely I don't use Instagram as much as I used to. Like I have an Instagram account for my dogs. So
I
I'll
know.
update those, but I don't engage that much on my own personal Instagram. I'm on private now on my own personal Instagram, and I don't really engage very much on that. And I'll use TikTok. Um I sometimes I find myself watching more TikToks than I do TV.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you're not alone. Yeah. Okay, let me ask both of you this. Do you take your phone to bed?
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
What?
so do I. Do
Who
you, Denise?
doesn't?
Yeah. Do you, Denise?
Uh,
Do you take your phone to bed?
no,
Like scroll when you get into
no,
bed? Oh,
no. But I don't have a TV in my bedroom either. Like my bedroom is to sleep. Yes.
well, I don't have a TV in my room either, but I do have my,
No,
like,
no. I don't scroll in bed. No,
oh,
no,
I
Me
do.
no.
too.
And
That's not good.
Me
I
too.
turn my sound off. I don't listen. Ding. I don't. None of that happens when I go to
Hmm.
sleep.
You know what? Like
Good for yours.
I've taken like measures, quote I'm making air quotes. I'm taking measures
Measures. Yeah.
to curb my, social media consumption, but it doesn't work. But I don't consume as much social media as I used to. Like I said, I don't use Facebook, I don't use Instagram. I am on TikTok a lot.
I know. I see you on TikTok.
I can't get enough.
She's a great lip
I can't,
syncer. She's got very entertaining.
I can't get enough. I fall into like the comedy talk, the funny creators.
Yeah, it's entertaining. Well, I wonder if the trend is going to change because just like everything else, we're learning more and more of the negative effects of it. It is dopamine inducing. I
And
mean,
yeah,
it's a dopamine hit,
yeah,
right? And we all want that. And sometimes, we just go overboard with it.
yeah. There
Yeah.
was this, I saw this she's a social media manager or something. She was on, like, she posted a TikTok and she made a prediction that when the Gen Alphas, which is the generation after Gen Z, when the Gen Alphas become old enough to actually be part of the conversation, which they're kind of starting to, you know what I mean? When the Gen Alphas
Uh-huh.
like become teenagers or what have you, and into their early 20s, they predict that they are not going to be interested in social media because they grew up in it. Their parents put them in it without their consent. I think they think, at least the social media creator or social media manager predicted that perhaps in the next 15 years, the Gen Alphas would have or would want nothing to do with it. Like they'll find it
That's
cringe.
interesting.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. So my little indie grandson, who's nearly 4, he may want no part of it. Yeah. Well, he's, been watching his parents, on it all the time. So, and me, I'm on it if he's watching TV, I'm looking at my phone.
Right.
So, yeah. Okay. Is there anything more we want to say, Denise, about this?
No, I don't think so. Nope. Thank you for inviting me on. Yeah.
We've covered it. We haven't covered it all, but I think we've kind of put it out there as a conversation, and I think it's interesting. We boomers versus millennials now versus, the alpha,
Right.
and the X's.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Denise, thank you. We haven't had you on for a long time,
Yeah.
and it's just so nice to have you back.
Nice to see you both. Nice to see Mela too. Yeah.
We're excited to now be part of the Super Aging News Network, the most authoritative online source of news, trends, and ideas on longevity and the super aging revolution. Getting older without getting old. Find the link in our show notes and be sure to sign up for their newsletter. This episode was written and created by me, Barb Desmarais. Produced, edited, and engineered by Mela. Many thanks to our guest today for making it possible, and if you enjoyed it as much as we did recording it, follow us on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or on your favorite podcast player. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch up with you again next week.